Hi everyone, it's Lynnea for LDRS Creative, and I'm going to be using two of the impression press and foil plates from the most recent collection to create a really easy card, but it's one of my favorite designs that I've made in a long time. I love adding bits of black onto my card. I think it's a really striking accent. And in addition, stripes are one of my favorite patterns on cards. So I'm going to be using the stripes and the peony impression plates. I have a piece of LDRS Creative A2 cotton watercolor panel, and I'm going to just temporarily adhere that onto the top of my Better Press plate. While I'm doing that, I do want to remind you that these dies are press plates. They're not cutting dies. So you do need a specialized letter press platform to use them. I'm going to be using the Better Press platform from Spellbinders, and again, I want to stress, do not put these dies through your regular cutting machine with your standard cutting plates. It will damage the rollers since these dies are thicker. But it's okay to use with this Better Press platform, and I'll still be using my traditional Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine, just with the specialized platform. Okay, so once I have my A2 cotton panel adhered onto the top plate, I just use those grid guidelines for A2 size. I'm going to add that peony press plate within those guidelines on the magnetic platform, keeping in mind that I do want to add my stripes onto the bottom of the card. The peony press plate has a bunch of peonies kind of with a bottomless border, so you can add whatever you want on the bottom. That's where I'm going to use the stripes. So I inked up that press plate with Raven Hybrid ink, ran that through my cutting machine, and now I have that beautiful peony pattern pressed into my cotton panel. I'm going to remove that peony press plate and swap it out with the stripes impression press and foil plate, and I'm going to add that striped plate right up to where I had that peony plate ending. I'm inking it up with Raven Hybrid ink again, just adding little dabs of ink here and there, and then even making sure that I have that fully covered. Running that through my die cutting machine, again, not using my standard cutting plates, using the Better Press platform. And now I have this pretty striped pattern on the bottom and those peonies pressed into the top. Since I used Raven Hybrid ink, and it is a hybrid ink, I can do any kind of coloring that I want. I could color with colored pencils, I could color with Copic markers, but I decided to bring out my watercolors and add some quick and easy color. So I'm going to start by doing just a flat wash of color, and I'm going to start with the leaves. I have kind of an olivey green for the leaves, and then I did a darker green for the stems. I grabbed a blue from my palette, and I'm going to, again, just adding a layer, a wash of color onto a few of the flowers. I'm going to be using, I believe it's 3 colors. So I'm just planning out my coloring, trying to make it so that I don't have the same colored flower next to each other. Once I colored a couple blue flowers, I grabbed a pretty purpley, a pinky purple color, and I'm going to add some of those, and then I can't have flowers without having a little bit of yellow. And I am mixing up my yellow because I thought it was a little too bright to go with the blue and the purple shade that I had, so I mixed in a little bit of brown actually to kind of dull that yellow down and have it be more of a sunflower yellow versus a bright lemon yellow. Once that first layer of color has dried, I'm going to come back in with the same color and just add a second layer. The great thing about watercolors is you can layer your colors up, and I'm not changing the color at all. It's just adding a bit of intensity by adding color on top of color. I'm going to keep it pretty loose and let that dry, and once it dries, you're going to see how there's shades of color, and I didn't have to put any effort into that at all. I had a tiny piece where the stripes didn't quite match up to the bottom of my peony press plate. That's no problem. I just grabbed a piece of black cardstock, trimmed that down, and added that right across where those two images meet. I added a sentiment, matted that onto a card, and this is finished. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon. Bye!